Welcome to the FedLife Podcast with Dan Sipe from Serving Those Who Serve. In this podcast, Dan draws from years of financial experience to help federal employees overcome challenges that every Fed can relate to. Join us for this journey as we reach, teach, and serve to help you make the right financial decisions. Now, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the FedLife Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Dan Sipe. Additionally, I'm the branch manager here at Sipe and Ed Associates and Serving Those Who Serve. I want to begin, as I always do, by saying thank you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I see the numbers going up. It's very gratifying for me and for Ed. But I also want to say thank you for your service. You don't hear it enough. You're always going to hear it here. And every now and again, I get an email or something comes in through the website that says, you don't thank civilians for their service. I do, because you have chosen to serve the public trust. And that is worthy of gratitude, and you're always going to hear that here. The other thing that you're always going to hear here is the guru, Ed Zurndorfer. He's back with us again as part of our ongoing mission to reach, teach, and serve you. And at the outset, as I always have to, I need to say the opinions of our guest, Ed Zurndorfer, are not the opinions of Raymond James or Serving Those Who Serve. This podcast is presented for information only and not intended to be taken as advice. All listeners should consult their personal advisors before taking any action. And if you do not have a personal advisor, hit us up at Serving Those Who Serve, stwserve.com. We'll help you. Okay, if you don't want us as advisors, that's fine. You just need to have some questions answered. We want to make sure that all feds have the information that they need to make the best decision with their benefits, because that is important for your Fed life. So we are covering Ed's articles, and this one, I think, Ed, I think this is going to be a hot topic for us, because you're talking about open season, and it's that time of year again. You're talking about open season, but somebody who's planning on retiring next year, what should they be doing this year? What should the checklist be? What kinds of things should they be paying attention to? I think this is going to be one of our most important podcasts. So you are talking about tips for feds who plan to retire next year. The first thing you point out, and I couldn't agree with you more, is how valuable FEHB coverage is in retirement. So why don't you start there and recap that?
Okay, federal employees are entitled to enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance. This is the group-sponsored health insurance plan, the sponsor being the federal government, in which employees, we're talking about permanent employees, not temporary employees, but permanent employees, those who have been hired as either full-time or part-time permanent employees, are entitled to enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance Program, in which, no matter what type of plan they enroll in, no matter what type of coverage they have, self-only, just for themselves, self plus one eligible family member, a spouse, a child under the age of 26, or a self and multiple family member, spouse, and any number of children. They pay on average 25 to 28% of the premiums, and their agency pays the other 72 to 75%. They can change their plan from one year to the next, and that's during the current open season. What I just described to you, Dan, is the cake. Can I give you the icing on the cake now?
Oh, absolutely. I love icing, Ed.
Okay, here comes the icing. Federal employees are entitled to keep this benefit into and throughout their retirement if they fulfill two requirements.
Okay.
When I keep this benefit, I'm saying keeping coverage for themselves and for eligible family members, and they're going to pay the same percentage of the premiums. Their premium costs do not go up once they retire. I get this question quite often. I hear employees say to me, well, I would love to keep my federal employees health insurance for retirement, but I was told I'm going to pay more in premiums. I'm going to pay all the premiums. The government's not going to contribute anything. Wrong. Nope. I was told that I can't keep family members on my plan after retire. Wrong.
Nope.
Okay? Nope. All you got to do is fulfill two requirements, and you're going to pay 25 to 28% of the premiums, no matter what type of plan you're in. You can keep your family members in on the plan, but here are the two requirements that you must fulfill. Number one, you have to be entitled to retire on what's called an immediate annuity, as opposed to a deferred annuity. Let me define what an immediate annuity is. You retire from federal service, and you're going to get your first CSRS or FERS annuity check within 1 to 2 months after you retire. That's going to be the first one, and you're going to get this annuity check for the rest of your life. As opposed to a deferred annuity in which you left federal service before you were eligible to retire. You just left. In that case, when you leave, you lose your federal employee health insurance forever. Even when your deferred annuity starts, and when it starts depends on how many years of service you had when you left federal service. For example, if you left federal service with 30 years of service and at age 52, and your minimum retirement age is 57, starting at age 57, you get your annuity check. But when you left at age 52, you lost your federal employee's health insurance, and your health insurance is not going to be restored.
Gotcha.
The federal employee health insurance will not be restored when your annuity starts at age 57.
Gotcha.
That's called a deferred annuity. You could retire on what's called a postponed retirement. It's called the MRA plus 10 and MRA plus 20 immediate, but it's retirement. But you decide, I want to postpone the start of my annuity because if I start when I'm at my MRA, my annuity is going to be reduced. We talk about that. We have a few FedZone columns, and all the listeners have to do is just key in the word MRA plus 10, MRA plus 20, reduced, postponed retirement, and you'll see it's on the FedZone, www.fed-zone.com. We talk about that. But under the MRA plus 10, this is for FERS employees only, and MRA plus 20, immediate but reduced retirement, reduced and postponed, you are eligible to keep your federal employee health insurance. That's the first requirement: immediate retirement or postpone, reduced or postponed. And the second requirement, and this is so important, that the employee has been continuously enrolled in the federal employee's health insurance under either his or her name or included as part of another family member, usually a spouse, as part of their FEHB coverage. For example, you have self only or self plus one in your name, you're the self, or you are included on your spouse's self plus one or self and family. And you've been continuously enrolled as such for the 5 years of service immediately before the day that your CSRS or FERS annuity becomes effective, the effective date of your retirement. So, for example, and I have an example in this column. We have a employee, his name is William. He's going to retire with 30 years of FERS service at age 60 on December 31st, 2021.
Yep.
He has more than 20 years of service. He's age 60. He's certainly entitled to retire immediately on December 31st, 2021. He's been a participant in the Federal Employees Health Insurance Program almost his entire career. So his retirement actually, though, Dan, becomes effective on January 1st, 2022. So if you go back 5 years to January 1st, 2017, and William has been a participant in the Federal Employees Health Insurance for those 5 years, January 1st, 2017 through January 1st, 2022, continuously, he is eligible to keep his federal employees' health insurance in retirement because he's going to get his first annuity check dated February 1st, 2022. He is good to go for the rest of his life.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we've got the two hurdles. we're eligible for an immediate annuity. We have the 5 years, and so we're there. We have our coverage, then we pass away. So what do we need to be thinking about for our survivors? How should we prepare them? Because when there's two of you, one of you will go first, most likely. Very rarely do spouses go at the same time. So what are some of your thoughts and tips for preparing the family members and survivors?
Okay. So I want to point out that when it comes to a federal employee who is, let's say, close to retirement, most likely, if the employee is married, it is their spouse who will be who'll be included on their federal employee's health insurance. And the spouse is entitled to stay on the federal employee's, now soon to be retiree's, health insurance. And the spouse would not have to be enrolled in the FEHB on the employee's plan for the last 5 years. It's only the employee has to fulfill the 5-year rule.
Okay.
But here's what employees who are about to retire have to keep in mind. That in the event that the employee, once he or she retires, if the annuitant, we've gone from employee to a retiree who's getting a CS Rest-Refer's annuity, that's why it's called annuitant, predeceases the spouse.
Yep.
The spouse must receive a survivor annuity as well as being on the health insurance of the retiree at the time of his or her death in order to maintain the federal employee health insurance. In order to maintain it, keep it for himself or herself. And if they're, let's say, children under the age of 26, for them to retain it under now the surviving spouse, they also would have to be on the plan, but they would not have to be receiving a survivor annuity. Only their surviving parent would have to receive a survivor annuity. I'm saying this because if we have somebody right now who's about to retire, and I can tell you that in a few weeks, December 31st, 2021 is going to be a very popular retirement date among many employees. They're eligible to retire. They're eligible to retire on December 31st, 2021. Going out at the end of the year is always a popular time to go out. Sure. But this year, there are a lot of people who want to retire, and they're going to retire on December 31st, 2021. And a few of them asked me some questions, and I've come up with a checklist, what they need to keep in mind. I say to them, well, have you been in the federal employees health insurance for all the last 5 years, ending on January 1st, 2022? Again, that's going to be the effective date of their retirement if they retire on December 31st, 2021. Yeah, no problem. Are you married? Is your spouse on the federal employees health insurance? They say, yeah. Do you want your spouse to stay on there? Yeah. Are you giving your spouse a survivor annuity? And they say, come to think of it, when I filed my application for retirement, there was a section that says, are you planning to give a survivor annuity to your spouse? There's a section on the application form for retirement, whether CS refers. Are you going to give a survivor annuity to your spouse? And my spouse and I talked it over. And when my spouse found out I got to take a reduction in my own annuity in order to give a survivor annuity to him or her, my spouse said, don't do it. I got my own retirement. I don't need to get a survivor annuity. I have enough of my own. I have my own. I have a 401k plan. I got money IRAs. You don't have to give me a survivor annuity. I say to the person, you realize that as long as you're living, your spouse can stay on the federal employees health insurance. But if you predecease your spouse, they're going to lose the federal employees health insurance because you're not giving them a survivor annuity. Because why do I have to give them a survivor annuity? Why? What is this rule? They got to get a survivor annuity.
Gotcha.
The reason, Dan, is annuitants pay 25 to 28% of the premiums. Deducted from what? Their annuity check. How will a survivor annuitant be able to pay the premiums for their FEHB insurance if they're not getting a survivor annuity? Is OPM going to bill them? No. It has to be deducted from an annuity check. A survivor annuity check. No survivor annuity check, no insurance. So I tell the person, you better rethink this.
Sure.
I'm going to retire on December 31st, 2021. It's already done. No, it's not. All you did was you filled out the application form. You gave it to your HR office. It's going to sit there until December 31st when you actually retire. But you could change it. You got to change it.
Absolutely.
Remember that between now and then.
You do not want to drop your spouse out of the health plan.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
No, I've seen it happen all too many times. So, Ed, most of our feds are probably going to be retiring to an immediate annuity, but you bring up a great point. If you're not, you've got some additional planning to do there. So, what would you say is one of the most important things that they should make sure they have locked down as they're about to retire relative to FEHB? Because it's open season, they're thinking about it. So they've decided they're going to retire in 2022. They know they've got the 5 years. They know they're going to go out on the immediate annuity. Anything else that they really should be paying attention to now so that they'll be seamless when they do retire?
Yes, I want to bring up this 5-year rule again, Dan.
Good.
Because I want to the story I was going to tell. I mentioned earlier about I had an experience with someone with the 5-year rule, and this 5-year rule. Why is there a 5-year rule? Well, OPM wants to make sure you've had at least those last 5 years to carry into retirement. They don't want people jumping in and out of the federal employees' health insurance in the last few years. They want to have 5 continuous years. I just want to bring another related subject up. Dan, do you realize that you could retire from federal service at the age of 62 with only 5 years of service? Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
Okay. I haven't been to too many federal agencies over the past year and a half, given what's happened with the COVID. We haven't done any in-house seminars. We do webinars. Sure. And one of the questions I do ask employees who attend these retirement webinars we give, is there any hiring going on at your agency? Anybody being hired? Are they young people? Are they middle-aged people? Are there people close to retirement? Some people say, yeah, there are a few people that are getting, let's say, in their late 50s. We had a few people in their early 60s. And I asked a question, Dan, why would someone in their late 50s, early 60s, want to come to work for the federal government?
Oh, I know my answer.
What is the attraction?
I know my answer.
What is your answer,
FEHB.
Dan?
FEHB.
Did I hear health benefits?
Yes, you did. And as a matter of fact, if anybody from the Retirement Thrift Investment Board is listening, and if they're interested in hiring a seasoned veteran, I could be available. So, but I'm only going to do it for 5 years and 1 month.
That's right. That's right. Because I do want to point out, and I also point out that when you work in private industry, under the Affordable Care Act, if your company has more than 50 full-time employees, you must give health insurance. You must offer a group health insurance plan to your full-time employees. That is according to the Affordable Care Act. If you don't, you're going to pay a fine. People work in private industry. They do have access to group health insurance. But I had to point out, there has never been a law in this country, Dan. There is no law. There never will be a law that says an employer who offers group health insurance to its employees has to offer group health insurance to its retirees.
Very true.
The Supreme Court ruled that when an employer denies health insurance, group health insurance to its retirees, that is not age discrimination. Take an individual who worked in private industry starting in their mid-20s. They worked 30 years until, let's say, they're 57 years old. They have a 401k plan. They retire. They had health benefits throughout this time. But when they retired, no more health benefits. What are they going to do? They have to go out and buy health insurance. Health insurance is expensive. Individual health insurance. They're too young to enroll in Medicare. They're 57 years old, let's say. So what's the best thing to do? Go work for the federal government. Get yourself a job with the government. It doesn't have to be a high-paying job. It could be a GS1 counting widgets. Enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance Program. If you're married, put your spouse on there. Work until you're 62 and retire. With health benefits for the rest of your life for yourself and your spouse. That's what's happening out there.
I believe it.
Let me share my experience with someone about that. I had an individual who called me about, it was over 7 years ago. He retired from a private company at the age of 57 on July 1st, 2014. And at the time all the years he worked, he had a great health insurance plan from his employer. His employer paid 100% of the premiums throughout the whole time. He never paid a premium. Retires, no more health insurance. So he got my name from someone. He said, I heard that the federal government offers health insurance and they allow you to keep it for retirement, for yourself and for your spouse. I said, that's right. What do I need to do? You got to get yourself a federal job. So the individual did. He got a job starting August 1st, 2014. And I told him, you can enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance right away. So when he called me back in August 2014, I asked him, did you enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance? He said, no. I said, why not? Well, my company is keeping me on their health insurance plan until the end of 2014. I'm good to go through December 31st, 2014. So why should I enroll in the Federal Employee Health Insurance when I'm getting free health insurance from my company? I will enroll during the open season. During the open season, starting in November 2014, ending in early December, I will enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance. Fine. So he did enroll in the Federal Employees Health Insurance during that open season. Remember what I said earlier? When you enroll or change health insurance plans, and when it comes to the Federal Employees Health Insurance during the open season, when does your coverage become effective?
That would be January of the coming year.
That's correct. The first day of the new leave year.
Leave year, yep.
It turns out the first day of the 2015 leave year was January the 11th, 2015. Okay? All right. So let's hear the rest of the story, Dan.
I feel I know where this is going.
You know where this is going. He calls me in November 2019. He said, Ed, guess what? That great advice you gave me 5 years ago, it really paid because I've been working continuously ever since August 1st, 2014. I have 5 years under my belt, and I'm going to retire on December 31st, 2019. I said, wait a minute. Who told you to retire on December 31st, 2019? Well, I've actually read some of your columns. And you say retiring at the end of December is a good idea from many standpoints. I said, you're right, but not your case. He said, why not? You told me you enrolled in the Federal Employees Health Insurance Program during the open season in 2014. Your coverage became effective on January the 11th, 2015. Move forward 5 years, Dan. Yep. January 11th, 2020.
Yep.
When did he retire? When did he want to retire? December 31st, 2019. When does his coverage become effective? When does his retirement become effective? The effective date is retirement?
That will be January. First pension check will come in February. But
no, that's right. January 1st, 2020.
Yep.
When does the 5 year period end?
January 11th. He's off by 10 days.
2020. He's short 10 days. Sorry. Yep. Being closed doesn't count. He can retire. Don't get me wrong. But no health insurance benefits in retirement. I said, sir, please change your retirement date.
You got to go. You got to go fix that paperwork.
Fix that paperwork and make your retirement date January 31st, 2020. Dan, had he not contacted me and he retired on December 31st, 2019, the damage is done. You cannot undo it. That 5-year rule is so important. I cannot emphasize that enough. So anybody who is going to retire anytime during 2022, please keep that 5-year FEHBP participation rule in mind.
Yep.
It's the 5 years ending on the effective date of your retirement. If you have to, please change your retirement date if you're short. If the 5 years is not going to be sometime during 2022, you better change your retirement plans and retire in 2023, whatever it is. This is a lifetime decision here, like Dan.
Absolutely.
Don't blow the 5-year rule.
Well, I don't think I can make that the title of the podcast, but I think that is a great nugget right there. Don't blow the 5-year rule. My friend, you are truly a treasure for us and the entire federal community. And we appreciate all you do for the feds and appreciate everything you do to teach our team. Folks, that's a wrap. We are serving those who serve. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your YouTube channel and Spotify. Be sure to share it with your friends and strangers. Check us out on Twitter and LinkedIn. Don't forget the live webinars every single week. Just go to the SWS website, swserve.com. You will see the big webinar button. Go ahead and click that. There is a cornucopia of topics, and the guru will come to you as we work to reach, teach, and serve you. Sign up for one, sign up for all of them. Share it with your friends. They will thank you. Be sure to read Ed every single week in the Fed Zone. And that's at blog.swserve.com, but also at fed-zone.com. So for Ed, the crew at Serving Those Who Serve, and me, Dan Sipe, good luck, Godspeed, and above all, remember, it's your Fed life. Make it a great one because you deserve it. Stay well, everybody. We are out.
Thank you for listening to the FedLife Podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Serving Those Who Serve or Raymond James. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors Incorporated. Serving Those Who Serve is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
Raymond James is not affiliated and does not endorse the opinions or services of any of the quoted professionals or their respective firms. Any opinions are those of Dan Sipe and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. This case study is for illustrative purposes only. Individual cases will vary. Raymond James is not affiliated with and does not endorse the opinions or services of the quoted professionals or their respective organizations.
Neither Raymond James Financial Services nor any Raymond James financial advisor renders advice on tax issues. These matters should be discussed with the appropriate professional. Investing involves risk, and you may incur a profit or loss regardless of strategy selected, including diversification and asset allocation.